name is Keith Hamilton. I am the visual effects supervisor for Masterpiece. And it was my job to help out with well, not only production, but also post-production as far as all visual effects were concerned for the film. Originally, Masterpiece was a lot more ambitious in what we wanted to do. In the original storyboard that Scott presented to us, there's a lot more visual effects. The shot list was much longer than what it actually turned out to be. One shot called for the camera to look up and there'd be a ceiling, but none of our sets had ceilings, so that would have had to been put in post-production, somehow built in either a 3D environment or kind of faked in a 2D environment. We were going to put a green screen behind the Potter's window. Also, I think we were going to put one behind the Master's corridor front door on that set. And just as the process of just doing some test footage and just discussions, we decided instead of doing everything digitally in post-production, we used lights, we used some fabric, and used a smoke machine to create these volumetric rays of light that actually looked beautiful when we shot it. And again, we decided just to use like the Potter's studio or Potter's workshop, just use some fabric and just shine some lights on it, and in post create kind of a little bit of a blowout effect to kind of have, you know, the bright background kind of envelop the Potter slightly as he walked in, kind of revealing him. And as it turned out, those turned out to work a lot better than if we attempted to do it digitally. It was just a lot prettier, more realistic, and just for that, just the way it was shot, just looked a lot better. Then there was the infamous shaft of light, which Scott really wanted badly. In the Master's corridor, we hung a spotlight up high and shined it down on the table that was the centerpiece of the Master's corridor. And it created this cool little, you know, spotlight there and looked great. But Scott also wanted to add a visible volumetric beam of light that, you know, came from above as well. As I started working on it, it looked okay at first, and you know, was working, looked real nice. But as you know, kept going through the shots, the decision was made that the shaft actually probably would distract just from the rest of the film. And of course, you know, the story is more important than any one effect. So in the end, the decision was made to drop the beam of light, and actually, I think, you know, the film survived. One of the vital shots that had to be done, and Scott actually did this, was extending our set a little bit, because there's a couple of shots in there where you can actually see the edge of the set. Scott went in and sort of digitally extended the set and eliminated those edges. Another one of the things that Scott wanted was to show the inside of the kiln as the pot was firing. That's one of the shots I did, and on set we showed the pot inside the kiln, and a light was used to give a sense of you know, a glowing heat. But you know, the heat usually comes from sort of distortion. I created an effect to give that impression of this, you know, intense heat rising from the fire of the kiln. It was a brief shot, but I think it helped, and it helped kind of convey that image of an intense heat. There's this one shot where the camera was tracking across the floor, following the Master's feet as he was walking down the line of Potters. You know, it was brief, maybe a little more than a second, but you could clearly see this dent, this break in our fake marble floor, which was actually plywood. So, you know, I went in and took that shot and smooth out that dent, that break, and just kind of cover it over. So when the final shot was put in the film and you saw that little tracking of the Master's feet, you saw a nice, smooth marble floor. Probably the most important visual effects shot of the film, and sort of what the film hinged around during the climax, was the implied mosaic reveal. It was tough just because, you know, how how do you represent that? You know, we couldn't, you know, hire an artist or anything to actually create something, because, you know, some people would see it and probably think, oh, that's beautiful. Some people would see it and probably think, it's nothing great. I mean, I don't see what's so special about it. Art is so subjective. So my goal was to create enough of something to stir the imagination of the people watching the film, so they can kind of make their own interpretation of what was there. And you can actually see the shot behind me here, as it was originally. You know, it's basically just an empty table. So it was my job to put something on that table. Scott wanted some glow, some shafts of light. It took some experimentation, but eventually I came up with several layers of just shimmering, of just, you know, glow, little spikes of light, and just played with it enough to where I think I had got something that looked good. Also on that shot, the scene was unevenly lit. There was more light on one side than there was on the other. What needed to be done was to even all that out. Additional challenge of actually creating a shimmer on the side of the scene where there was no shimmer. So after I did the table effect, went back in and sort of evened the light out around the whole scene, so it's more evenly lit, and also added a little shimmer in the corner there to match the one on the other side of the screen. Yeah, thanks a lot, Scott. Ow! You don't have to put that in if you don't want.